There were a number of chapters in my life when stress was my default setting. I wasn't sleeping well, my mind was scattered, and I didn't feel at all connected to the person that I used to be back when I was a young teenager, full of hope and promise, full of excitement about what was yet to come, and about the things that I was engaged with at the time. I felt disconnected from myself, from the world around me, and from all the things that made me feel alive when I was young. And what saved me wasn't a therapist or a book or any grand change in my psychology. It was basically just 3 hobbies. And these 3 hobbies took turns saving my life. The first one was photography, and it continues to this day. I took up photography when I was 12 years old, back when I was an anxious young betweenager. And the thing that it did for me was it got me outside, out of the house, and it forced me to really see the world again, to see it in a way that my anxious little betweenager mind had failed to see up to that point. It helped me to engage in something in a very deliberate way and a creative way, and to see progress over time with my engagement with that hobby. The second one was spending time in nature, and this I have my dad to thank, because we started camping from, when I was about 3 years old. But in my teenage years in particular, camping with my dad was like a relief valve on all of the pressures and anxieties that the average teenage boy goes through in school, with their academic performance, with their friends, with the bullies at school. And it wasn't as if we were hiking or doing anything deliberate per se. It was just that we would spend up to sometimes 2 weeks out in the bush, walking around, sometimes riding our motorbikes, sitting around the campfire, just being in touch with nature. And later in life, it's something that I re-engaged with, where I would go out for a walk, oftentimes in this park where I am right now. No headphones, no distractions, no podcasts, just the sound of crunching leaves under my feet, the breeze, and the birds in the trees. Very, very simple, but it's something which is easy to discount out of hand because it seems kind of pointless and meaningless. But if you think about it, we spent the first 300,000 to 400,000 years of our evolution outside. It's only in very recent times, tiny sliver of history, that we have spent the bulk of our time indoors. And in fact, the average person spends less than 15 minutes outside per day. So just getting outside amongst nature with no other objectives, no goals to achieve, just being there has a hugely restorative effect. People who spend time out in nature with no agenda, no goals, just walking in nature, spending time in nature, tend to be more peaceful, more centered, more relaxed, and I dare say probably more productive as well, because it brings balance back to your life, spending time in nature. And the third one is writing. Writing is something I've been interested in since I was a teenager, and I was first published in a magazine when I was 14, and then went on to write more articles, which ultimately got me a job in the publishing industry, working for a motorcycle magazine, then later car magazines and so on. But later in life, especially when I went through my second divorce and I went broke again, writing about the issues that I was dealing with was enormously therapeutic. And in the process, it ended up actually having a positive impact on some other people as well. But that aside, whether you're wanting to write a novel or writing a blog or anything else, just sitting down and getting your thoughts out of your head and onto paper brings order to that scrambled mess inside your head. This is why journaling is so widely supported by a lot of people who have gone through the grinder and come out the other side and gone on to become successful in their lives, because it brings order to the mess, and it takes all of that noise out of your head and puts it there on paper in front of you or in a document. And then through that, you can start to see patterns, and you can start to see the issues for what they really are, and then solutions start to become self-evident. Writing also gives you agency over your own story. It gives you an opportunity to even rewrite your own story if you choose, or to create an entirely different story if you want to get into that style of writing. But whatever style of writing you choose to do, the simple act of taking thoughts out of your head and then writing them down somewhere does an awful lot for the brain, and it does an awful lot for your stress levels. And it can go on to become something that you find pleasurable and engaging and very therapeutic for the rest of your life. And that's a great thing about these hobbies too, is they're not particularly expensive. I mean, writing costs you nothing. Going for a walk out in the park costs you nothing. Yes, photography can cost you a little bit, but it's nothing like it used to in the old days where you had to buy film and get it processed and all that sort of stuff. Now photography can be very, very cheap. And almost every camera they make these days is a good camera. There's really no such thing as a bad camera anymore. Certainly not when it comes to any mirrorless or DSLR, or modern compact camera. They're all good. But just the act of going out there and taking photos, which is the thing that I really love the most, and which is why I have a whole photography channel, is something that you can enjoy for the rest of your life. So if you're a man stuck in midlife, stuck in the overwhelm, or feeling hopeless, feeling like there's just nothing good anymore, nothing to look forward to anymore, the best advice I can give you is to find a hobby and create a project for yourself. It doesn't have to be fancy, it doesn't have to be grand in any way. But pick something and create a project for yourself where you have some sense of progress as you move through it. And watch what a difference it makes to your life. Just one good hobby can put you back in touch with who you were all along, or it could help you to reinvent who you want to be in the future. Preferably, if you can, find something that occasionally gets you outside, something which is creative, something where there is the potential for progressive improvement over time, because there's nothing like progressing through and improving upon something to give you a real sense of excitement and enjoyment and pleasure, something to look forward to every day, something that gets you away from the noise, something that makes you feel human again, something that makes you feel alive. It's like that old saying from Picasso. He said, "All children are born artists. The problem is to remain one as we grow up." So I would say to you that hobbies aren't just hobbies. Hobbies can be a lifeline. They can be an anchor, a pivot point in your life. They can genuinely be therapy minus the couch. I mean, you just have to look at the comments in one of my recent videos on the power of spending an hour each day outside with your camera, and the number of people who wrote back on that video saying that it was their therapy, that without it they'd go crazy. That's on my other channel, Peter Fritz Photo. So the evidence is definitely there, and certainly that's been my personal experience over 40 years of taking photos, is the enormous therapeutic benefits of getting outside in short bursts to take photos. So these are the three hobbies that saved me: photography, being out in nature, usually combined, and writing. So I would say to you, pick one hobby. It doesn't have to be any of the three that I mentioned, but pick something that suits you. Preferably something that gets you outside occasionally, something that where you can see some progress. But pick something, create a project around it, and watch just what it does for your life. Because chances are, whatever it is that's ailing you right now, a decent hobby will have a demonstrably positive impact on your life. Anyway, that's it from me. Thanks for watching this video. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye for now.